At Chamba in the Nanumba North municipality of the Northern region, residents are impatiently waiting to have their road fixed. Ninga Mwan Kambwan is the chairman of the Yam Sellers and Drivers Union in Chamba.
To say the baby and send any bridge in Fumu, you send back that's an alpha when as I said, obey to me. In fact, the only not draft from one to me. We are mistake about country. Yet they are hanging I the two abandon say one boy.
The 17.5 kilometer Willensi Chamba Road was cut off at the peak of the rainy season last year. As that part of the season approaches, residents dread being cut off again.
No man, the old buyer quadrum, one to me and qua, when you know, Waboka. Then Baba was quite an obedience country. It is right. I been by no more by your queen, my. And yes, idea. You say no, I talk a class A. I've seen a do I busu in the year, and then send Baba more. You say the Anya start to say about a every day be I was to talk about saying so you know, but you quite way, say the engine would do a hand day or mark no. The Mubaba did you no mumba, a craft for mumba. As I said, there's who did not mark what you when you're there, but send over no man.
Chamba has an important yam market which attracts traders from across the country. This makes the road a very important one. Fortunately, this road was awarded to a contractor on 1st June 2018 and was due to be completed in 18 months. In August 2019, more than a year after the contract was awarded, work is yet to begin. The people of Chamba have doubts about the competence of the contractor.
No buyer, no contractor, papa, no my buyer, Anya la contractor for we mudi more dear. Quite will move by ye, or move by Tradia, Quamaso, ya, and it's so start to top pay. And I quite almost by you, Mr. Carco. Won't feed your moye. In so to see back with pay. Now, I nasa a quenas outside. About the bridges no money.
This is the contract for the construction of this road. How I came by this contract is both intriguing and disturbing.
Shoddy work and the problematic execution of government projects have their rules in the procurement process that lead to the award of the contracts. Daniel Domelevo is the Auditor General of Ghana.
If you have gone through or perused our audit reports, you will see that all the reports have gotten issues to do with procurement, different forms and shapes of procurement-related offenses. Sometimes, which you and me are used to, they construct a road which can barely last for a year. And you ask yourself, are we getting value for money? And all this has continued for a very long time because of lack of oversight in the country.
Over the years, the PPA, which was established to curb procurement infractions and fraud, has been accused of complicity in the promotion of these infractions.
There was no due diligence, there was no price, reasonableness checks. So if you want to buy a car, let's say you want to buy a Land Cruiser, and then you put in your application that you want to go and buy your Land Cruiser at $230,000. The price was not an issue. They look at it, they say, oh, this institution, Ministry of Works and Housing wants to go and buy a Land Cruiser for the minister or deputy minister at the cost of $230,000. The $230,000 was not touched. They look at it and say, oh, the minister needs a car, so the approval is given.
Under the Akufo-Addo administration, however, the Public Procurement Authority has been hailed as the shining light by the government as a protector of the public purse.
Government has also made, in 2017, significant savings of some 800 million cedis in government procurement as we depart from sole sourcing as the primary method of public procurement. That departure will strengthen our public finances and make it possible for us to finance our development ourselves.
Honorable Speaker.
While presenting the 2019 Mid-Year Budget Review, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta celebrated the PPA's achievements.
Candidate Akufo-Addo promised to protect the public purse, and that's exactly what we've been doing at the Treasury. To highlight that point, Mr. Speaker, in a space of 31 months, by reviewing contracts that we either sole source or procured through restrictive tender, the Akufo-Addo administration has made savings of 2.75 billion. When it comes to how taxpayers' money have been managed, the facts, Mr. Speaker, speak loudly. We believe it is very important on days like this that we show to the people of Ghana that this government, their government, the Akufo-Addo government, the New Patriotic Party government, your government, spends the taxes you pay for your benefit and for the benefit of the collective.
You talked about savings that were made, and some people out there, including myself, have questions about it. Is it possible to get a list of the contracts that came and how much you saved on each one of them, so we can also make an independent calculation and confirm what PPA and then the Finance Ministry have put out there?
Yeah, sure. The data is available. And so, as a follow-up, if you, after this interview, if you book an appointment, I will link you up to get the relevant data, so you can also do the calculation and know the source from where these analyses are made.
After the interview, I wrote officially requesting the information. A response signed by the legal director and board secretary of the PPA said the PPA could not give the information to me because it would infringe on the PPA's confidentiality obligation. Interestingly, the PPA is supposed to publish such restrictive tendering and single-source procurement contracts on the authority's website. In fact, some of the contracts are on the PPA's website, but the PPA would not give out the specific contracts from which it claims to have made the savings. So what is confidential about contracts which the PPA is supposed to publish and actually publishes on its website? The Public Procurement Authority, under the leadership of Ejenim Boatin Eje, popularly known as ABAJ, has won many national and international awards for its achievements.
Awards have been many. I wish I knew that you mentioned the awards. Perhaps I would have displayed a couple of the plaques. But the recent award that the Public Procurement Authority won was through the hard work and kind of innovation that we have brought into the public procurement landscape. Not only recognized here at home, but it's mostly recognized by researchers across the globe. So we picked an award in Berlin last 2 months, that was in June, from the European Research Society.
With the news of significant savings and the national and international accolades, it appears the era of procurement irregularities is a thing of the past. My investigation, however, reveals a disturbing trade in government contracts. Even more disturbing are those behind it. There is a group of companies off the Manet Junction on the Spintex Road in Accra called the TDL Group. Talent Discovery Limited is its flagship company. This company has nothing to do with the discovery and development of talents, as the name might suggest. This is where the fates of the Chamba Road and other government contracts are held. Talent Discovery Limited is alleged to be using its political connections to win government contracts and then sell them.
So the purpose of this trip to Talent Discovery Limited is to establish two things: that this company actually wins government contracts, and two, that it sells these contracts to prospective buyers. So you'll be dealing with them, not with your real name, of course. So you'll be called Richard Kumadra, and the plan is that you have a brother called Joseph Kumadra, who is currently in the United States. He has a business called K-Dra Enterprise, and K-Dra Enterprise is a sole proprietorship that does supplies. You have heard that they have contracts for sale, and you would want to know whether it is true and if you can buy some. Currently, I know there is a contract they are selling for 30,000 cedis. I think it's one of the least contracts they have. We are not going to go with any money. Our intention is not to give them money, but to, one, ascertain that they have contracts, and to get some documentary evidence that they are selling these contracts. And the evidence is important because like witches, they say you don't catch a witch with an empty hand.
Well, good morning. Everything good. It's someone in. Okay, I'm here.
So what is your company name?
Richard Kumadra met the general manager of the TDL group, Thomas Amwa. Mr. Amwa signs the contracts on behalf of TDL. He took notes on our fake business and proceeded to talk about the number of contracts at hand.
There have been people interested in the project. Actually, some have dropped checks.
Okay.
But I am key to people like this project.
Okay.
Because if it goes forward, it tarnishes the image of your company.
Okay. Okay.
So they are outstanding by it because the terms of it is very, very favorable. And everybody would want to do it.
Okay.
The contract
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
$158,000.
$158,000.
So you can read through.
Okay. Okay. That's what it was. Is it possible to have one of these when I'm here?
Then if we sign all necessary agreements.
Okay. Okay.
Because somebody is actually interested and want to pay to this.
Okay. I am as well very much interested. Very much interested.
May I keep saying that?
Yeah.
Everybody can say I am interested, but the one to commit himself is the one.
He would not part with any documents until payment was made. He said there was a non-refundable registration fee of 5,000 cedis for any business wanting to do business with Talent Discovery Limited, but the registration could be waived if we were prepared to pay the full price of the contracts he was selling.
For us, we have something we call suppliers and contractors registration form.
Okay.
Any contractor we engage in pay a fee of 5,000 cedis to register with us. What happens is that when that amount is paid, every time there is an award of projects, we open up to the supplier or the contractor to hear from you if the supplier is interested. There are cases we can come into a negotiation on percentage-wise, and then even use the supplier's company details for a direct contract award. So that is what we do. So once we find the contractor registered with us, we are going to give any information we have to be able to, and then go to work.
Richard tried, but he had to leave without any documents because the general manager insisted no document would change hands until money changed hands.
You said the registration is 5,000 cedis. Okay, so without that we cannot proceed with any further engagement. Okay.
Yes, of course, you have, what is it, the outright
purchasing amount. Okay.
We were then compelled to pay the registration fee of 5,000 cedis and a 10,000 cedis deposit to secure copies of a contract.
The 10,000 I'm going to give you is not for any specific project for now. I'm just going to give you some as a deposit, so that when we make a decision, on which of the contracts we want to execute, then we can then do the top up and then we finalize. Okay. So this is the check this.
I trust.
Alright, we can.
The general manager revised the terms of the contract he was initially selling for 30,000 cedis. The total sum of the contract was 158,900 cedis, awarded to Talent Discovery Limited by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority to supply one mobile column lift for the Takoradi port.
The form is quite detailed.
Okay.
I don't know if you want to fill it here or if you want to take it and fill it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Would it take a long time?
It will depend on you.
Okay. Okay.
So now that I know that I have engagement with you, then I can open things up.
Exactly. Okay, then I would take it. I'll take it away, fill it, and then bring it. So.
Abigail, please get me a copy of this and the Santa Maria drinks. And then the mobile column lift, Ghana Port. If you have funds,
yeah.
That is if you have agent.
Okay.
The ministry is on my leg.
Okay.
There is this project.
Yeah.
It was awarded to us to go and do Santa Maria.
Okay.
Drainage.
Wow.
But Dr. Okoboy wants us to tackle his end, which is fishing.
I mean the roots? Oh.
No, the same drain.
The same drains, okay. Okay.
So I'm going to check the site.
Okay.
So any contractor who comes in, I actually sold it to somebody.
Okay.
What is happening? The person don't have the funds to carry the project.
Okay.
Okay, that is what is happening.
Okay.
So I've agreed with the person, I will sell it to another person who has the funds.
Okay.
And give him his refund.
Refund.
Share deposit he paid.
Okay.
Which is agreed.
Okay.
So that side we don't have.
You don't have the issues. Okay. Okay.
And then I have secured another dormitory project at Abubu.
Okay.
Which I'm going to take site possession tomorrow.
Okay.
That one is also there.
Okay.
Another two-story dormitory at Sabalungu also in the pipeline coming.
Okay.
So there are a couple of projects.
Okay.
Mobile column lift is also there. Somebody came to deposit. Abigail, how much the person got? 5,000.
Okay.
Instead of 25.
25. Okay. Okay.
So the whole thing we were looking at 30.
Okay.
But as at yesterday, the amount revised because we realized that even in the market, you can get it for around 50k.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So we are now looking at 50.
Okay.
So 50 if the person do 25 upfront.
Okay.
The balance 25 will be paid when the mobilization funds comes.
Okay.
Because there is a mobilization of 63,000 Ghana.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Which I have put in the requisition. I'm doing it with public balance.
The mobilization is 63.
Yes, because the
contract sound. Oh, okay. 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 40% of it. Okay. Okay.
that is where we are.
It's something we can consider easily.
This was the least contract being sold at the time of this investigation, and it was bought by someone else even before we raised the money to secure evidence. The selling prices of the other contracts were in hundreds of thousands and millions of cedis, which we could not pay, but we needed evidence of more than one contract. The 10,000 cedis was paid by Richard, whose brother and friend, we told the company, would be there to pay 210,000 cedis on a particular Thursday for one of the projects. We requested more than one contract document so that the financier would make a decision on which one to start with before coming with the cash that Thursday. We also asked the general manager to send us a draft memorandum of understanding spelling out the terms of the engagement. He drafted one using the Ministry of Education contract and sent to us via email. Kedra Enterprise is not a registered business and did not provide any evidence of undertaking any contract, but TDL was prepared to sell off government contracts including construction projects with complex drawings and specifications.
How do we deal with consultants and other people when they come on site?
Consultants, we will take care.
You take care of them. When they come on site?
When they come on site, they only come in to inspect.
Okay.
But if before they come on site, they will call us.
They'll call you, yeah.
This investigation has revealed that the sale of the contracts resulted in some delays. For instance, the contract for the storm drain project at Santa Maria was signed on the 5th of April 2019. The execution of the project was supposed to begin 2 weeks after signing the contract and be completed within 6 months. But 4 months later, the company was still looking for a buyer. Surprisingly, the general manager of TDL said the ministry had written to change the sites of the contract from Santa Maria to Teshi without varying the contract sum.
The Santa Maria.
Yes.
Then Abigail, please come and look for site, the change of site location for me. It is the same parameters.
Okay.
The secret is that it will be the same people to do Santa.
Okay.
The Santa was divided into two.
Okay.
One, we are two different contractors because the site is big.
Okay.
The Teshi drainage, hydro, give me the change of location. So when the Santa was awarded,
Yeah.
Dr. Okoboy was also on us.
Okay.
That he needed us to do DSP.
Okay.
So the hydro people gave us a letter
Okay.
to do it with the same length and specification in the Santa Maria.
The Santa Maria.
Chairman, Davi, my from, but I say it.
He said the new arrangement was more profitable because the amount of work at Teshi was less than what the company was supposed to do at Santa Maria, but the cost of the contract remained fixed.
So this is the original letter.
No, okay.
The Ministry of Education contract was awarded under the Emergency Senior High School project and was to be completed in 6 months. After the first month, however, TDL was still looking for a buyer. When we said we could move to the site within 3 weeks, the general manager reiterated the urgency of the project.
If they are going for the Abugu project, I wish they could. The 3 weeks will be long for them to go on site.
Oh.
But if they clear site,
Okay.
they don't. It takes time to prepare themselves, so that at least they can know that there is work in progress.
Okay. Okay.
Once they clear site, that one, even if they want to take 1 month to go to site and start, nobody have issue with them.
Okay.
The 22 million Willensi Chamba Road contract was awarded to B Mole Limited, but the TDL general manager said that was a sister company.
I have a Frida Roads project in front of me.
Okay, great.
It's awarded to another sister company of us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's our sister company.
Okay. Okay.
By that one, we were looking for 15%.
15.
Yes, of the contract sum.
Instead of the 18.
Yes.
What's the contract sum?
The 18. The contract sum is 22 million.
22.
Yeah, 22 is bitumen surfaces.
Okay. Okay.
In the northern region.
This contract has gone past 2/3 of the time for its execution, but nothing was being done at the time of our visit. In Accra, it was still being sold for 15% of the contract sum to a buyer that was yet to be found. Contracts, according to Mr. Amwa, was sold at 18% of the contract sum, but for this contract, TDL was prepared to take 15%. The immediate past chairman of the Ghana Road Contractors Association, Ebo Hilton, says selling a road contract for 15% of the contract sum is problematic.
Whoever is going to buy that kind of project or contract is going to lose. Usually when we are preparing our bids, usually our profit margin is 10%. And so if as a contractor you have to go and buy a contract from somebody and the person is demanding between 15 and 18%, then what it means is that he's taking away your profit and also part of your overheads. He's taking all that away. And there is no way the contractor can make any gains on that project.
15% of 22 million cedis is 3,300,000 cedis. Thomas Amoah said TDL uses part of the money to pay officials of the ministries and departments which award the contracts to the company.
18%, there's some day inside.
18% by the time we get paid. And you say, why you left for the company professional?
The little.
Else your payment not go good for.
Yeah, like for the, if you raise a certificate.
The place people pass. Sort out. That's why I say, people work, some are paid.
Yes.
Some are not paid.
Yeah.
Because those who have not paid.
Because they are not.
So you go and buy project somewhere. Let me call you back, okay? You go and buy project somewhere, and then payment becomes an issue. That is the whole thing.
When I wrote to the ministries, departments and agencies, they said they did not know TDL was engaged in the sale of contracts. They said they did not and would not sanction any such actions. So why does TDL sell contracts instead of executing them? Thomas Amoah said the company had contracts to clear goods for Cocoa Board and the Ghana Water Company Limited. These contracts required pre-financing, so the proceeds from selling the government contracts were used to execute these jobs.
We used to be doing them.
Okay.
But we have a lot in our hands. For Ghana Water and Cocoa Board.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So what we do is, when we start some of these projects, we use the same money to be doing the clearance. Else, the mortgage
it will kill you.
Exactly.
My checks at the Ghana Water Company and Cocoa Board confirmed that TDL was indeed doing business with them as a clearing agent. Ebo Hilton says contractors are allowed to subcontract or sublet part of the work to other companies with the permission of the awarding entity. In that case, the main contractor pays the subcontractor for the amount of work done. He says it is unacceptable to win a contract and sell the entire contract to someone else at a price, especially without the approval of the ministry or agency awarding the contract.
If I come to you with a contract and tell you to pay me 15% of the contract sum so that I give it to you to execute, does that constitute subletting, subcontracting, or this an outright sale?
You have the contract, you come to give it to me and ask me to pay you 15%.
Yes.
No, I wouldn't call. I would call that a sale. I would call that a sale. And like I said, for this to happen, you need to get the approval of the awarding agency, and I believe that in most cases, the awarding agency is going to reject it, unless you do it on the quiet. But then, what it means is that you are still going to maintain the name, the original name of the contractor and all others, which is also dangerous. If you have to tell me that I should pay you this sum of money and then you give me the contract, then I would say that's an outright sale. You are selling the contract to me. And in most cases, like I'm saying, it's dangerous, number one, and number two, it has a whole lot of implications, because depending on the amount of money that you are taking from the contractor, it could result in shoddy work being executed or the job being abandoned if he realizes that he's going to lose.
The Auditor General, Daniel Domelevo, says selling of contracts amounts to misrepresentation.
To me, it is a misrepresentation or fraud, a deceit, because it is like me presenting myself to you as a medical officer. After you have given me the patient, I go and call a quack to come and do the job. If I understand you, you are having companies who are operating like the Guru boys, so more or less a Guru company. My goodness, God save this country. If that is what is happening, and I hope no public servant is involved, because if the people who are supposed to serve the public interest are also involved in this, then God save this country.
When asked how TDL, a company that was found barely 2 years ago, was able to win so many government contracts, Thomas Amoah said the company had links to the top. He said with time, He could help Kedra Enterprise to win contracts directly from the government agencies. The ministries, departments and agencies have confirmed that the contracts being sold by Talent Discovery Limited are authentic contracts that have been awarded to the company. The company has contracts with the Ghana Water Company, Ghana Cocoa Board, and the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. It also has contracts with the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Works and Housing, and 4 contracts with the Ministry of Special Development Initiatives to construct dams under the government's One Village, One Dam project. At the time of filing this report, Talent Discovery Limited was shortlisted for restrictive tendering by the Bank of Ghana for the supply and installation of air purifiers. The company has also been shortlisted by the Roads and Highways Ministry for 3 road contracts, and the evaluation process is currently ongoing. These are what I've been able to confirm. There could be more. It is said that a bird that dances in the middle of the road must have its drummer or drummers in the nearby bush, and a new company with so many contracts with ministries and government institutions must indeed have links, as its general manager said. A search at the Registrar General's department shows that Talent Discovery Limited has 2 shareholders, Ejenim Eje, a majority shareholder of 60% of the shares, and Francis Ahin, who owns the remaining 40% shares. The 2 are also the directors of the company, which was registered in June 2017. Speaking generally on how to expose people who try to vary their names in order to hide their ownership of companies, the CEO of the PPA, Ejenim Boatin Eje, said a number of ways could be used to reveal the true owners.
Well, some people have a way, and I have dealt with some in the past.
Yeah.
They decide to even use, if they are using their names, they decide to use, pair them in a way. So for instance, if you have 3 names, they can use Ejenim Boatin to register one company, use the Boatin Eje to register another, and then Ejenim Eje to register another company.
Yeah. Do you know what some you see, when people are trying to perpetrate any kind of fraud, I would say that at the time that they have the intention to do that, they are not so smart to look at the other implications. They can change and do this in lottery, they call it what? Permutation. They can do all this permutation, but one thing that gives them out is they have the same address, or you can locate one particular telephone number running through, and it becomes so clear that yes, they tried to, as it were, navigate and manipulate the system, but there is something that will always give them out by that kind of trailing, and we have seen it several times. Wow. Sometimes it's not the name, it's telephone number. Sometimes it's not telephone number, it's address, location.
Of the 2 directors and shareholders of Talent Discovery Limited, one of them pointed to the PPA CEO. The spelling of his Ejenim and Eje are the same as those on the registration documents, even though the registration of the company does not have his middle name or his initial.
Yeah, the right spelling and the right name is Ejenim Boatin Eje, and the Ejenim is ADJENIM. Okay. It's not the AGY, okay, because it takes the same source from the surname, which is also ADJEI.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, okay. So Ejenim Boatin Eje.
His official name, as found in documents he signs, is not Ejenim Eje. He is Ejenim Boatin Eje, but he signs AB Eje in official documents, including approval letters at the PPA.
Normally, I try to limit the full name as much as possible because of how people call you. When people call the Ejenim Boatin, they leave the Eje. All right, so then I feel that my surname has been shortchanged. So I rather prefer the ABAJ, in which case the AJ becomes prominent.
But there are more clues. 2 of the companies of the TDL Group, Frosty Eyes Natural Mineral Water and ABM Logistics Ghana Limited, have shareholders and directors, namely Mercy Eje and Ejenim Eje. The tax identification number of the Ejenim Eje in the registration of Talent Discovery Limited is the same tax identification number used by the Ejenim Eje in the company she jointly owns with Mercy Eje. My investigation also revealed that the wife of the PPA CEO is called Mercy Eje, so it is highly probable that the Ejenim Eje of the TDL group is the same Ejenim Boateng Eje of the Public Procurement Authority.
Beyond your professional life, you're also a family man, I guess?
Sure. I'm a happily married man with 3 lovely children.
Wow.
Yes.
I was reading somewhere that your wife is called Mercy Eje.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That is her.
Okay.
Yes. Mercy Eje is
Congratulations
my
for
wife.
all of this.
The address of Frosty Eyes, a member of the TDL group, is a street in Airport Hills in Accra, and that is where the PPA boss lives. My investigation revealed further clues that suggested that the head of the Public Procurement Authority was the same person who owned the company engaged in selling government contracts. In March 2018, there was a funeral in a brewery in the Eastern region, and the 3 shareholders in the TDL group of companies all featured in the funeral invitation. The invitation named ABAJ, CEO of the Public Procurement Authority, as a brother of the deceased. It also named Francis Ahin, CEO of Talent Discovery Limited, and Mrs. Mercy Eje as in-laws of the deceased. Mercy Eje is ABAJ's wife, and Francis Ahin is ABAJ's brother-in-law. With these and other dossier of evidence, I confronted Ejenim Boateng Eje with the inevitable question.
So ABAJ, do you know of a company called Talent Discovery Limited?
I do.
Is it your company?
No.
So how do you know this company?
It's a cousin of mine.
Okay. We have information that this company has been brought here a number of times for approval, restricted tendering.
Yes.
Did it come to your attention?
Yes.
And what did you do about it?
Yes, I did declare at the board meeting.
You have evidence to show?
Yeah.
Today?
No, it's there. It's in our minutes.
Yes, but I'm saying if we want to find out.
Yes, it's in the minutes, so you can always find out.
Okay. And what's the name of this your cousin?
I wouldn't disclose it. You can have it if you want it.
We have done our checks and it's not your cousin, but your name is on the registration document.
It's not my cousin, he's my in-law, my brother-in-law.
Your brother-in-law, and
Yeah.
what's his name?
I will not disclose his name.
Francis Ahin.
Yeah.
And then you are the majority shareholder and also a director.
I'm not the majority shareholder. I'm a director.
A director and then 60% shareholding.
No. It is 50-50.
And who is the second shareholder?
Just 2 of us.
So it is your company?
I have a shares in it.
Mr. Eje said though Talent Discovery Limited had been brought to the PPA on many occasions for approval, he was not in a conflict of interest situation because he made full disclosure to the board.
We have information that this company gets a lot of government contracts and then sells them.
They get a lot of government contracts? I'm not aware of that.
But that's the information we have.
Yeah, I'm not aware of that.
Okay. So if evidence is produced and then you get to know that this is what the company is engaged in, what will be your action?
Oh, the person who runs the company goes out to look for business. And is there anything wrong with that?
No, but if it is engaged in selling government contracts.
It sells government contracts?
Yes.
I will never be aware.
Okay.
Never be aware.
Okay. But if you get to know, how serious will you treat it?
I'll tell him to stop straight away.
Is it an offense to do that?
To do what? To sell?
Sell government contracts.
Well, the question is, sell by what means?
It takes the contract, it won't deliver, and it goes to sell.
And how does that work with the company, sorry, the entity that awards the contract? It is more of the entity that awards the contracts and the company that you are saying sells.
Yes. But I'm saying if you get to know as a shareholder and director of such a company, how seriously would you take that?
I'll take it serious and tell him that that is not acceptable, because I'm not aware of what you are telling me.
I wrote to ABAJ requesting the board minutes. He promised to give me the week after my interview with him. In a response signed by the board secretary and legal director of the PPA declined to give the board minutes, saying the documents are confidential. The PPA, however, said ABAJ disclosed his interest in Talent Discovery Limited when the company was shortlisted for a contract by the Ministry of Inner Cities and Zongo Development. The PPA board also said ABAJ later recused himself from discussions on 14 other occasions when Talent Discovery Limited was shortlisted for government contracts. A disclosure to the board may, however, not cure the PPA CEO of conflict of interest because of his own explanation of the process. When sole sourcing and restrictive tendering requests are made to the PPA, the CEO and his team conduct due diligence on the companies and the contracts before recommending to the technical committee of the board to either approve or reject the application.
The unit I set up is a due diligence unit. That due diligence unit actually conducts due diligence.
This means the real work on Talent Discovery Limited at the PPA is done under the supervision of the company's director and majority shareholder before recommendations are made to the board to approve or reject it. After the undercover engagement with the general manager of TDL, I wrote to the company for a response and indicated the content of the secret filming. Lawyers of the company responded on behalf of TDL, denying any wrongdoing. The lawyer said the company did not sanction the actions of the general manager and that he acted on his own. They said disciplinary measures had already been initiated against him, beginning with a query and a suspension, while investigation into his conduct continued. In a response to the query, which the lawyers attached to the company's response to me, the general manager said he acted on his own and did not have the permission of his employers. He also admitted in the response that he demanded and received 15,000 cedis from my undercover agent and issued receipts using letterheads of the company. He said, and I quote, "So I asked him if he is indeed serious for us to proceed, he should pay a commitment fee of 15,000 cedis, and so he paid 5,000 on one occasion. On another occasion, he came to the office to see me for a copy of the contract and made another payment of 10,000 cedis. Even though the company said it did not sanction his general manager's conduct, he did not appear to hide the trade in contracts. He conferred with the secretary a number of times on the sale and payment of deposits during this investigation. He is also the one whose signatures are on the contracts which the company signed with the ministry's department and agencies, the contracts he was selling. Apart from the issue of conflict of interest, participation in government contracts by companies owned by PPA officials can create unfair competition even if they declare their interest. This is because when government entities send shortlisted companies to PPA for restrictive tendering approval, they often include the contract sum, which is unknown to the companies shortlisted. The PPA official whose company is involved in the bidding process can give information to enhance its tender, and this could raise suspicions, especially when the bidding price is so close to the amount budgeted by the awarding entity. For instance, in the Santa Maria project, the Works and Housing Ministry estimated 2 million cedis for the project. Talent Discovery Limited won the bid with 1,999,600 cedis and 45 pesos, almost exactly the amount earmarked by the ministry.
If you want us to approve, you can add this company behind the scenes, so they will do it and then
bring it.
Well,
that is possible if people wants to do that.
The lawyers for TDL say ABAJ was a director and promoter of the company, but he has since resigned. The date of his resignation has not been given, but this company was formed after he was appointed CEO of the PPA in 2017. In August 2018, records at the Registrar General's Department indicated that he was still a director and shareholder of the company. When I interviewed him this month, he said he was a director and shareholder of the company. Beyond being a shareholder and director, APAJ, according to sources close to the company, is the chairman of the TDL Group. The PPA board said had told the board he resigned in September 2017 because his busy schedules at PPA did not give him the time to perform his functions at the company. Ejenim Boateng Adjei is one of the foremost procurement experts in Ghana. When PPA was formed in 2005, he was the first CEO. He was reappointed in 2017 and entrusted with the authority of the state to lead the PPA to curb procurement irregularities such as the sale of contracts and other procurement frauds. Almost all the contracts which Talent Discovery Limited won were through restrictive tendering. This means that when this company is involved in such contracts, the company's majority shareholder and director is the same man who supervises due diligence on the company. He may be fair, but when a referee is also a player, his fairness may not be appreciated by the other players. Manasseh Azuri Awuni reporting.